Welcome back. This is week 7 of sports betting, and today we're starting this off just a little bit different. I got a couple comments that I would like to address. First of all, Dan HD on TikTok, he commented on my take on Carlos Petras over Li Jingliang. He commented, I took Li Jingliang over Carlos Petras for many reasons, mostly because Li Jingliang hasn't been knocked out. And Carlos took a lot of damage, so I figured Lee could withstand the damage and win the fight. Before the fight happened, Dan commented, "True, you have great points, but I also think you have to take into account Lee has been out for a long time due to a back injury. But we'll see. Great profits if he wins. I have Carlos, though." So, of course, during the fight, Carlos won by TKO. And right after the fight, Dan HD commented, "Sorry, bro." So, it was a pretty cool interaction. I encourage you guys to comment on my videos. And a shout out to Dan HD, a great take, a great bet. Keep it up. Next, I want to make an apology. I misspelled and mispronounced Daniel Ursig. I believe I was saying Ekrig. It's Ursig. It's Steve Ursig. 3 times. I messed it up 3 times. That's got to be a record. So, my bad. Apologies to Steve Ursig. Any fan who watched that video. I don't have an excuse for misspelling a name. That's pretty easy. I can look up names anywhere, especially on ESPN. I don't have an excuse for that. Mispronouncing names, I'm going to do my best not to. That most likely will not be the last name I mispronounce. So, apologies for mispronouncing Steve Ursig, misspelling, and calling him the wrong name on this episode. But now we're moving on to the recap. Last week I went 7 for 12, only making a profit of $600. So, not too good considering I'm betting $10K on with each bet I make. My biggest win was Ricardo Ramos over Josh Calabao. My biggest loss was Casey O'Neill defeating Liana Santos. The magic number now is 461.9K. Don't want to dip below that. Today I am betting on the MLB games occurring today. First up, starting off with a Yankees bet, as always. I'm betting on the Yankees to beat the Guardians. Nestor Cortez versus Alex Cobb will be an interesting matchup. I'd assume Cortez pitches better and lasts longer, but both pitchers have been kind of inconsistent, so it's hard to predict which one will go further. Just based on recent trends, I would assume Nestor Cortez has the edge in the starting pitching matchup. Alex Cobb has only started in 2 games, so that's the big thing. Alex Cobb is still new to starting. It's a different game starting, especially when you go through the lineup that second time. Then if you look at the offense comparison, the Yankees, for batting average, they're tied for 11th. They're first in on-base percentage, second in home runs, and second in runs scored. The Guardians have the 20th best average, 20th in on-base percentage, 14th in home runs, and 13th in runs scored. So the Yankees' offense has a huge advantage. Even though the Guardians went on quite a run in extra innings last night, I predicted the Yankees to win today. Next, I'm taking the Orioles over the Mets. This seems to be a very close matchup. That's to me. Instinctually, I would pick the Orioles over the Mets, and looking into it, I picked the Orioles over the Mets, but when you look closer, to me it seems much closer than I would expect. The starting pitching matchup is competitive. Zach Eflin has been more consistent than Sean Manaea. That's as of late. Manaea has 2 games in his last 5 where he didn't make it 5 innings. That's if Manaea struggles early, the Orioles offense can get on a roll and really open up the gap in this one. And of course, the Orioles offense has been great this year. Not that the Mets hasn't, but the Orioles' offense is just on fire. The Mets' best chance is home runs, but I'm taking the Orioles. Next, give me the Houston Astros to beat the Boston Red Sox. Neither of these starting pitchers are hot. When you look at the last 5 starts, Cooper Criswell, he has pitched 10 innings, given up 9 runs, 16 hits, no home runs, however. He's struck out 3 and walked 5. On the other hand, Spencer Arrighetti, he has pitched 30.2 innings, given up 14 runs, 25 hits, 6 home runs, and 41 strikeouts to 8 walks. So I would give Spencer a little bit of the edge in this one, but both pitchers have been inconsistent. Teams Spencer has faced, which could make a difference in the inconsistency. He's faced the Dodgers and the Red Sox. Versus the Red Sox, he's pitched 7 innings, given up 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 home runs, which is dangerous. If he gives up home runs to the Red Sox, he's got to make sure runners aren't on base. 1 walk and 13 strikeouts. So Spencer definitely has the advantage pitching-wise, but it could be close. Cooper doesn't usually start games, obviously. Only 10 innings pitched in his last 5 starts. And the bullpen doesn't have much run support. The Red Sox are 19th in ERA. Offenses are close, so I predict that the Astros pitching will give the Astros the edge in this game. Next, the Pirates over the Rangers. The offenses are close, but Texas has the slight edge offensively. So offensively, the Rangers are a better team, but Paul Skeens is pitching. He's got a killer mustache and Livy Dunn. On top of that, he is coming off one of the best years and really all-around athletics history, from his dominance in the MLB, his dominance everywhere, in college, in the MLB, in serious contention for Rookie of the Year, and I bet he would get that. And he's talked about for the Cy Young Award this year, which is unlikely, but just to come in as a rookie and have that dominance is close to unheard of. All of that after eating fettuccine alfredo. He eats fettuccine alfredo before every start. But just because of that, and the starting pitcher for the Rangers, Andrew Heaney, he has been consistently giving up runs. So I think Paul Skeens will be the saving grace for the Pirates in this one, and the Pirates will outlast the Rangers. Next, I'm taking the Giants over the White Sox. That one I think is pretty self-explanatory. I won't dive into that one. But the Padres over the Twins. It's all around a very close matchup. The starting pitching matchup is close, and both give up runs. So this one was hard for me to predict. The Twins are down Byron Buxton, Alex Kirilloff, and Carlos Correa. For that reason, I give the Padres the edge offensively and the edge on the game. So Padres over Twins, mostly because of the Twins' injuries. That was a hard pick to make. Give me the Nationals over the Rockies. Starting pitcher Mitchell Parker lost a respectful 3-game streak where he didn't, in those 3 games, he prevented runs. I believe it was 2-1-2 as far as runs given up. He gave up 9 runs in his last start in 3 innings pitched to the Phillies. The Phillies have a great offense, but definitely not the start you're looking for. Coming off a rough start, I would expect a bounce-back game from Parker. Last outing against the Rockies, Parker gave up 4 runs in 6 innings pitched. So expect improvement. He's coming off a rough game. He wants to get a bounce back, and he didn't pitch terrible last time he faced the Rockies. On the other hand, the Rockies pitching is the worst in baseball right now. And the offenses are close, but I believe the Rockies pitching will just make the difference in this one, because it has been so bad all year. Next, give me Toronto to beat Cincinnati. Nick Martinez has the edge in pitching over Yariel Rodriguez, but Rodriguez doesn't give up a ton of runs. He gave up 10 runs in his last 21 innings pitched, so neither pitcher is horrible. The Reds' offense has been ice cold. That's the decider on me for this game. They've scored 12 runs in the last 5. 6, if you take out their 6-run games, their 6-run game, they're only scoring 6 runs in their last 4 games. They have not been able to get it going. I don't expect them to turn it around against the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays will take advantage of a sluggish Reds offense. Next up was another tough bet, but I'm taking the Phillies to beat the Braves. Aaron Nola for the Phillies is facing Max Fried for the Braves. And both good pitchers, they do not like this matchup at all. Aaron Nola against the Braves has pitched 10.1 innings, given up 16 hits, 10 runs, 4 home runs, only 1 walk to 11 strikeouts. Max Fried, when he faces the Phillies, in 6.2 innings of work, he is giving up 13 hits, 8 runs, 2 home runs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Max Fried, the first outing he had against the Phillies, he had a nightmarish start. He pitched 0.2 innings, gave up 3 runs and 3 walks. So the second start was definitely a bounce back, but still not pretty. He gave up 5 runs in 6 innings of work. Neither pitcher is really reliable in this start. You don't know what's going to happen. I still give Aaron Nola the edge just because 0.2 innings, a 0.2 inning outing is awful. And the 3 walks, it's not like they were hitting off of him. 3 walks, he wasn't an uncharacteristic night for sure, but he struggles against the Phillies. The Braves' offense hasn't been scoring as often as the Phillies. The Phillies' offense could really make the difference in this game, and I think they will. On top of that, the Braves are down Ozzie Albies and Jorge Soler. I think the Phillies will out-hit the Braves in this one. Give me the Phillies to win it. The Milwaukee Brewers, I'm taking them to beat the St. Louis Cardinals. Tobias Myers has been dealing and pitched well in his first outing against St. Louis. Expect an even better performance this time around compared to the 4 innings pitched, 1 run, and 4 walks the last time he faced St. Louis. On the other hand, it would be surprising to see Kyle Gibson stay sharp versus the Brewers. He's given up 16 runs in his last 5. So not awful, but against a Brewers offense that has been picking it up lately, I don't predict that he will have a pretty start. I think Tobias Myers has the edge on the starting pitching this matchup. And of course, I already mentioned it, the Brewers offense is much more productive than the Cardinals offense. I'm taking the Brewers in this one. The Royals, I'm taking them to beat the Angels. The Angels starting pitcher is undecided last time I checked, which was this morning. Either way, Michael Lorenzen is pitching for the He is pitching for the Royals, and he's been solid. He's been solid, not lights out, but he's been preventing runs. Nothing ugly in his last 5 starts. KC has the advantage in every team stat but opponent batting average. Give me the Royals in this one. Next, I'm taking Tampa Bay to beat the Oakland Athletics. Both starting pitcher Ryan Pepiot and Mitch Spence have pitched well in this matchup, but as of late, Ryan has been better at preventing runs. If you look at the last 5 outings, Ryan Pepiot has been more consistent than Mitch Spence. Ryan has given up 0 home runs in his last 5 starts. This Oakland A's offense, most of their runs come from home runs. They haven't been great offensively this year, but when it comes to run production, it comes from their power. And they're going to struggle finding that power against Ryan on the mound. The offenses are close, but again, I think the Rays will be able to come out on top just by preventing Oakland from getting home runs. Give me the Rays to beat the Athletics. Next, the Dodgers over the Mariners. This is a matchup of pitching versus hitting. The Mariners are phenomenal at pitching. I believe they're first in ERA in the MLB right now, but they are terrible at hitting. The Dodgers are amazing at hitting, but their pitching is still good. The Dodgers are just an all-around, more well-rounded team. And the Mariners' best chance is their home run power. Jack Flaherty has given up 4 home runs in his last 2 games. He's the one pitching for the Dodgers, but he's still preventing major damage. Even though he's giving up home runs, he's preventing runs and a lot of runs from crossing the plate. And the chances of the Mariners getting those runs, people on base before home runs, is slim to none. The Dodgers are just a more well-rounded team, and the Mariners' offense is going to kill them in this game. They won't be able to keep up with LA. I'm taking the Diamondbacks over the Marlins. That's another matchup I don't think I need to go too deep into. The Marlins have really been struggling, and I think the Diamondbacks, it's as close. The 2 I didn't say anything about, that's as close to an easy win as you can get, even though there's no easy wins once you get to a professional level that these guys are at. And last but not least, I'm taking the Cubs to beat the Tigers. I want to see the Tigers come out on top, but their offense has not been hot lately. Last night when the Tigers played the Cubs in Chicago, the Tigers did get base runners. Most of their offense came from Dingler and Torkelson. They were getting on base. The problem is when they got on base, no one else was hitting them in. They weren't taking advantage of base runners. Their offense is going back to that lackluster offense that can't really get anything going. And then this is a very close matchup. When you look at the team stats, it's nearly identical. If the Tigers, the Detroit Tigers, cannot capitalize on base runners, the Cubs are going to be able to win this one. And that's what I think. I think the Cubs are going to win at home at Wrigley Field. So those are my picks for Week 7. One final time, I'd like to apologize for the Steve Ursig ordeal. And another shout out to Dan the Man, Dan HD, for commenting on my videos. Thanks for all the support. Hopefully this week works out. Either way, I'll be back for Week 8. I'll see you guys later.